video on chord construction. So far we've got as far as the 13th. Now, there are a couple of other things we need to talk about with chords. The main one, and one of the ones I kind of prefer actually, is chords that explain what they are, because most of the things we've talked about before didn't. Okay, so I'm going to take, first of all, a chord with an altered bass note. So let's say it's a D with an F sharp bass. Now these are sometimes called slash chords. So does this mean you've got to play Guns N' Roses tunes with them? Slash chords doesn't mean anything. It's a chord with an altered bass note. So it's a D with an F sharp bass. There's the recipe. Normally a D has a D at the bottom. This one's got an F sharp. It could be an A, or it could be a D over a G. Okay, now that brings us back to slash chords, because if you think of them as fractions, so one over the other literally, then D over F sharp is what you see in a slash chord. But again, I just don't like the term really. It seems counterintuitive to me. Anyway, okay. So that is one way of describing that chord. Now, again, depending on where it is in the sequence, the composer might think of it as being something else. But the important thing is that you communicate what you mean to say, and that's everything in music. Anyway, now the next little part is about altered chords, and again these are chords which tell you what they're supposed to be. So I'm going to take an example. So this is, let's say, a C7 with a flat 9. Okay, well the 9 is here, it's a D, and we flatten it. So we could have a flat 9, we could have a sharp 9. Okay. What else might we have? Well, okay, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, flat 5. So that's C9, flat 5. Now, okay, it's a bit of a mouthful, but at least there's a recipe there. Okay, could have a C9 with a sharp 5. Okay, now these aren't chords you normally sit on for a huge amount of time, as you might have gathered. Because they're not the most tuneful of things. You tend to hear more like those sort of sounds, but okay. So C9, C9, flat 5, C9, raise 5. Now, one little thing you need to watch out for is if a chord has got an incredibly long name, it's probably something else, but just described stupidly. So, for example, if I said, okay, what I'm holding down here is an E. It's an E sus6/4 with the 4th in the bass, and it's in 3rd inversion. No, it's an A chord, isn't it? Okay, next we have two other sorts of chords. We have augmented chords, and this is where you have 1, 3 and a sharp 5 for augmented. And if you ever want to remember what an augmented chord sounds like, just think Chuck Berry. Okay, very easy. Okay. Now, because of the spacing of the notes in an augmented chord, they actually repeat themselves every 4 frets. Okay, there is a use for that, which we will come to in future videos. Okay, so next up, diminished chords. So this is a 7th chord. As its name, a lot of things are flattened. In fact, everything's flattened except the root. So instead of it being 1, 3, 5, 7, it's 1, flat 3, flat 5, and what they call double flat 7, so it's a 6. Okay. Now you might be thinking, oh God, this sounds like a nightmare. Well, it's very easy to get round, okay? Here's a C7. Okay. Diminished chord is a 7th chord with everything flattened except the root. put our finger on there, we've now got a diminished chord. The root is C sharp. Now, what's interesting about this is that our diminished chords repeat themselves every 3 frets. It's just the voices swap round between each other because all the voices are the same distance apart from each other. Now, I call them voices because when I'm playing chords, I imagine it like a choir. I think, well, you know, who's singing which line, where should that go? Okay, so diminished chords sound a little weird. Another way of doing it is you take a D7, raise the root. So that's about it on chords for the moment. There is one more episode which we're going to think about how those chords fall into groups, and that in itself is another subject. So thanks ever so much for watching this one, and if you could hit the subscribe button, that'd be great, and see you soon.